Story time.
With Ben and Gavin.
Here we go. One day, two boys were bored at a campsite. They saw a trail, and they had their bikes with them too, so it was quite nice, because the trail was paved and had a bike sign by it, so they knew they could bring it. They asked their parents, and their parents nodded them off without a thought. So the boys began their journey. They biked and biked. The hill was steep, and it was going downhill, so it took not much time before they came to a structure.
The structure was a stone bridge, unlike any other. Of course, the two boys thought it was really cool, so they took pictures of the stone bridge, thinking it was so cool, until a car went past it. And they just decided to keep on going. They kept on going, even though their legs hurt. It felt like miles, but it was miles. The trees were so thick, they couldn't even see the light, until they saw another structure.
They came to a house made of bricks. It was old. No civilization was near. No road, no water, not even a railway. The house was as if the trail was meant to be there. It came after the trail, it seemed, and it was abandoned, but still modern enough to be made in the past 30 years or so. The boys freaked out. They didn't even stop to stare. They just kept going. As the boys kept going, the trees began to bend in, like sticks being weighed down by stones. The legs clenching with every pedal, and every hill that they went above. And they continued.
The two boys continued past rocks, past trees, past little bridges, till they came to a giant hill. The hill was like a little curve past the way. There's a little field right by it, but nothing was there. And then there's a fork in the road. The fork in the road had two different ways, right and left. The two boys didn't know which way to go, since they were going downhill the entire time. So they decided right would make sense. But on the trail guide, it wasn't on there for bikes, which confused the two boys. But they still went right. And they pedaled uphill till they saw a newer wooden and brick house. It was strange, creepy. There was no transportation, nothing new. But on the second story, there's one singular light. That singular light scared them, but they kept on going into the woods.
As the boys kept on going, the feeling of being watched only grew, as if those eyes peering into them constantly. They continued till they came to a hump, where the road went downhill, just a small hump. There was nothing to worry. They saw a sign down the corner of their eyes, but they did not stop to think. And the sign said, "Beware, danger." And in front of their eyes, as they peered across the corner, upon the sign, was a house. But not just any house. It was burned down to a crisp. Everything in the boys' senses sharpened. Their feeling of awareness shook them as they looked up to the open sky where the trees were gone. And the darkness of the sky began to come, and the light began to fade. In sudden and hollow intensement, they turned around and pedaled fast. They were both afraid, and the darkness was only growing on them. Now came the mile or two of biking uphill.
The two boys didn't know what to do. They just kept on biking. Every ache in their quads, their calves, their feet, their spine, everything hurt. Felt like their muscles were against them. The weather was against them. The trees were against them. It felt like they were getting trapped. They were getting lost, getting deeper and deeper into the forest. The road was so hard to see that they barely could look forward, but they kept on pedaling until they saw the other landmark.
They came back to the fork in the road. They passed the house without even knowing it, the darkness consuming it. And the light, it was off. This house also had been, like the rest, alone, away from civilization, with no warning and no reason why. Once they came to the fork, they had straight and they had left, to go back up the hill they once came down, or to go another way unknown. The boys were already scared of the unknown, so naturally they went the way they came, not knowing that it would be a great mistake. They went to the small opening. The trees, where that had once been opened, where the sky shone bright and through, was now darker and swallowed by the night.
They kept on pedaling. Every pump of their bike they went. Uphill they went. It was barely ever downhill, but yet it was so hard to do. Until they passed the bridge again. It was creepy, twice as creepy. Nothing went over it, and nothing went under it. It was just them. So they decided to go uphill again. But this time, they would have to use their bikes and not pedal them because the pain of their aching too much. But it was starting to get darker and darker, so they had to somehow get back soon, because if they don't, they would have got lost forever.
The sense of being watched kept on growing, and the hill that once had seemed fun to ride down became their worst nightmare. Their strength had faded to a mere nothing, to where they had to walk up, one foot in front of the other, tired and in pain. If they biked, they wouldn't have the strength to make it, but walking, darkness would become quicker. So what they did was they would take breaks. Many breaks. They felt like eternity. The ride down only took about 10 minutes. This, 30. And then, after many minutes, they came to where they began. They could hear the sound of people talking over a campfire, and they stopped. They were glad to see their family, and their heart began to rise again.
They were relieved. They were back at civilization, but they didn't uncover the mysteries of what lied ahead. That will soon be uncovered, one way or another, sooner or later.